Hello, so today we are going to create this diorama of an Alexander Calder Stabile sculpture in a cityscape. And it's a pretty quick create, but neatness matters and I don't want you to rush and scribble and make a mess of this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a large white piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half one way. And I cut these so they probably won't, the edges won't line up perfectly. You're going to open it up and fold it in half the other way. And then across the top half of your paper, you're going to draw a city. And I'd like you to use chisel tip and regular Sharpie so that you have a variety of line thicknesses, thick and thin. So the chisel tip will help you to make a nice thick line. So notice how the thickness of the lines creates a variety. It's just more interesting to look at as opposed to something that's all the same thickness of line. So that's why I want you to use a variety, use both chisel tip for the thick and Sharpie for the thin to get a nice, interesting cityscape in the background. Now, if you're worried you're going to make mistakes, you should draw this in pencil first. You also should use a ruler to draw straight lines so that your buildings don't look too wobbly. But since I've been drawing for a long time, I'm skipping the pencil and the ruler and just jumping straight in. I also don't want to make you wait for long periods. And so this building's kind of boring, so I think I'm going to go back and add some thicker lines. All right, and then you can include something in the sky, especially if you drew your buildings kind of low and you have a lot of sky, you should include something up there to fill in that space. And so now you're going to flip this over and with your pencil you're going to write your name up behind your cityscape. Don't write it down below your cityscape. And then the day you have art, day A, day B, day C. Then to turn this into a diorama, this center fold you're going to cut and stop when you get to the bottom of your city. Then using a glue bottle and a frame of glue, you're going to choose one of these two bottom squares to do a frame of glue. And then you will flip this up, the city up. This square that you didn't put any glue on, you'll lift up and twist. So I'm lifting up the square with no glue, lifting it up, twisting to place it on top of the square with glue. And this creates your diorama. You might need to crease the corners to make this stand up a little straighter for you. And your name should be on the back. If you put it on one of these bottom squares, you might end up covering it up. And that's why we write it on the back of the cityscape. So now we're ready to make our stable sculpture. So you're going to get a small color piece of paper, anything of your choice, and I want you to design, draw some different patterns and things on there just to kind of jazz it up, make it look a little cooler. So maybe I'm going to add some polka dots with some smaller polka dots inside. Complex patterns are more interesting to look at. Okay, and that's one side of your paper. And you want to flip it over and do something on the other side. You can, if you use permanent marker first, you can really see through it, and you could essentially just copy the same pattern that you have, or it can be completely different. It's up to you, whatever you want. Now what you're going to do is take this square, it doesn't matter which way you fold it in half, but you're going to fold it in half. And along the top, you're going to cut some sort of line. It can be curved, it can be, you could leave it straight, it could be wavy. And then you're going to cut a line that follows and stops before you get to the fold. So you're going to start at the bottom, the opening, and you're going to stop when you get there. And cut another one and stop. Don't go all the way to the fold. So this is still all one piece of paper. It's not falling apart. And then finally the last one you are going to cut off. So that can be a little tricky. So slow down. Come ask for help. If you're worried, I could draw these in pencil for you to show you where you cut. And then you're going to cut off the bottom of the two inside. So the one on outside stays longer than the other two. So these little bits of scrap get recycled. And then you've got these long arms on the side that you fold up to line up with these lines here. So I'm going to fold up that way, flip it over, and fold this other side up. So now it's the same all the way across. And these are your tabs that are going to glue your stable sculpture to your diorama. And I'm going to fold these arms back and fold these middle arms back to create an interesting sculpture that stands. And now I'm going to put glue on the 2 feet or the tabs at the bottom. A dot of glue there, a dot of glue there, and I'm going to glue this to my diorama. And now I have my Alexander Calder Stabile sculpture in a cityscape diorama.